We want to have great trade relations with every country. But if you have punitive tariffs or tariff-like measures against our goods...
Has President Trump just started a global trade war that will make everyone poorer?
This zero-sum game thing is really quite amusing.
It's not about trade wars, it's about equitable relations for everyone's exports. Sebastian Gorka's blistering response left the BBC interviewer visibly stunned as he dismantled the narrative around Trump's 10% tariff on UK goods in a moment that exposed the media's selective outrage. Gorka questioned why the UK complains about US tariffs while imposing their own restrictive measures on American products. The former Trump official didn't just defend the policy, he turned the tables on the entire premise of the interview, challenging the BBC's understanding of international trade dynamics after Brexit. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. When the BBC host pressed Gorka about the 10% tariff on UK goods, no one expected what happened next.
Some people here don't really understand why there's any 10% tariff at all, considering the trading relationship between the US and the UK is balanced.
There's nothing to say that the current rate, the exempted rate, the special rate you have been afforded could not improve. It is the beginning. It's not about balance, it's about what is being done to US goods coming into the UK, because President Trump believes in free trade, but he also believes in fair trade.
A complete reversal of the narrative that left the interviewer visibly uncomfortable. We've all seen these interviews before. A British journalist sits across from a Trump representative, loaded questions at the ready, expecting to score easy points. This time, it was a BBC host confronting Sebastian Gorka about Trump's proposed 10% tariff on British goods. The setup was familiar. How could Trump justify such harsh treatment toward America's closest ally? The interviewer's approach was textbook media framing. By positioning the tariff as an attack on the special relationship between the US and UK, they created a narrative where Trump was the aggressor, recklessly damaging a historic alliance. The questioning suggested something deeply unfair about American policy.
I don't speak on behalf of the whole UK, let alone for the UK government. Has President... Oh, sorry, just let me check then. So what does the UK need to offer the US in order to either bring that 10% down or eliminate it altogether?
And I think it's strange that you've been afforded such an exceptional status and you're complaining? I'm not sure I understand that.
As if the UK was an innocent victim in this economic chess game. What happened next shattered the interviewer's carefully constructed narrative. Gorka didn't defend or apologise, he counterattacked. He immediately highlighted how the UK had been granted exceptional status in trade relations, then questioned why Britain was complaining about US tariffs while maintaining its own substantial barriers to American products. This unexpected role reversal left the interviewer scrambling to regain control of the conversation. The most devastating moment came when Gorka delivered the line that stopped the BBC host in their tracks. It's not about trade wars, it's about equitable relations for everyone's exports. This simple statement completely transformed the frame of the discussion. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't about American aggression, but about basic fairness in international commerce. The interviewer's reaction spoke volumes. There was no ready response to Gorka's points about the existing imbalance in US-UK trade relations. The host seemed genuinely unprepared for the possibility that the UK might not be the wronged party in this scenario. Their momentary speechlessness revealed how thoroughly the media's narrative had been disrupted. This exchange perfectly illustrates how mainstream media often approaches Trump's economic policies with selective outrage and fundamental misunderstandings. By focusing exclusively on what America is doing, they conveniently ignore what other countries have been doing for decades. The media frames tariffs as inherently aggressive rather than potentially defensive or corrective measures. Gorka successfully transformed what was supposed to be an interrogation about American bullying into a conversation about reciprocity and fairness. By the end, the debate had shifted from Trump starting a trade war to Trump demanding fair treatment for American goods, a perspective rarely presented in mainstream coverage. The reciprocity that underscores Trump's economic philosophy isn't just diplomatic posturing, it's a direct challenge to decades of globalist orthodoxy. When a country imposes substantial tariffs on American goods, while America charges little or nothing in return, can we honestly call that free trade, or is it something else entirely? Mainstream economists have long preached that tariffs are universally harmful, creating price increases for consumers and triggering retaliatory measures that harm everyone. This orthodox view has dominated media coverage of Trump's economic policies. Journalists and commentators reflexively portray any tariff proposal as economically illiterate, destined to spark inflationary pressure and damage international relations. Yet the economic reality is far more nuanced. While some economists warn about inflation and increased costs for consumers, others see Trump's approach as a necessary correction to long-standing imbalances. This split in economic opinion rarely makes it into media narratives, which tend to present only the anti-tariff perspective as legitimate economic thinking. What's often misunderstood is that Trump's 10% tariff on UK goods isn't primarily punitive, it's responsive. Rather than viewing it as an aggressive first move, it makes more sense to see it as a countermeasure designed to address existing trade barriers that have disadvantaged American businesses for years. The tariff serves as a bargaining tool, creating leverage to negotiate more balanced trade agreements. This approach has its critics even among Trump allies. Ryan Zinke expressed concerns that tariffs could negatively affect innocent families and businesses, while Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina warned about short-term pain for farmers. These legitimate concerns highlight the complex trade-offs involved in tariff policy, but they don't necessarily invalidate the underlying strategy. The core distinction that matters is between free trade and fair trade. Free trade, in theory, means minimal restrictions between countries. Fair trade, as Trump and Gawker conceive it, means ensuring all participating nations follow the same rules and standards. Their perspective holds that genuine free trade can only exist when the playing field is level, when a 30% tariff imposed by another country is met with